Good evening, everyone present and on Zoom this evening. Before we begin our meeting, our regular meeting, just want to start this evening with the swearing in of our newly elected members of the Guilford. What I'd like to do is ask Attorney Lou Federici, who's also a member of the Guilford Board of Selectmen, to come up and swear in our candidates, or our re-elected members, Jonathan Trotta and Jeff Beattie.
Oh,
And I'll move out of here, out of the way, and if you want to
Come up here?
Yeah, come on up front.
Put my back's not to the camera, where's my Hollywood skills?
Come right up here. I'll move chairs so we can.
Okay, now we're good. All right, gentlemen. Jonathan, good to see you.
Jonathan, why don't you go first?
all right. Need me up here?
Yeah, go right
Yeah.
right over the flag.
All right.
Okay, that's good. I gave you the podium out of this.
Hands up.
Yeah. Do you solemnly swear or affirm, as the case may be, that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Connecticut, so long as you continue a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully discharge, according to law, the duties of the office of Guilford Board of Finance to the best of your abilities, so help you God.
I do indeed, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm, as the case may be, that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Connecticut, so long as you continue a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully discharge, according to the law, the duties of the office of the Guilford Board of Finance to the best of your abilities, so help you God.
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Welcome back.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank
for
you.
the opportunity.
Very much appreciate coming out. Jeff Beattie, also attorney and now a re-elected member of the Board of Finance. We're going to have Jeff swear in both Amy Earls and Veronica Wallace.
Congratulations, Amy.
Thank you.
You'd raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm, as the case may be, that you'll support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Connecticut, so long as you continue to be a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully discharge, according to law, the duties of the office of member of the Board of Finance to the best of your abilities, so help you God?
I do.
Veronica?
Mhm.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm, as the case may be, that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Connecticut, so long as you continue to be a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully discharge, according to law, the duties of the office of a member of the Board of Finance to the best of your abilities, so help you God?
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Fantastic. While we all take our seats, I do want to recognize Jeff. Thank you very much. Congratulations to everybody. Mr. Federici, congratulations also.
Thank you.
As you ran for re-election and are back on the Board of Selectmen, so congratulations. Okay. With that, good to have everyone here present. We would like to, or I guess all of us would like to call the regular Board of Finance meeting for Monday, November 15th, 2021 to order. First item on the agenda is to actually have elections of chairman, vice chairman, and clerk. This is a process that we need to go through due to because of the Guilford Town Charter. And we must reappoint these positions within 2 weeks following a regular town election. And therefore, we need to go through that process. So election appointments is agenda item number 1. And with that, we have 1.1, which is election of chairman pro tempore. And at this point, I will go ahead and ask for nominations from the floor for chairman pro tempore.
I'd like to motion for Megan Scanlon to be President or Chairman Pro Tem, I will be president.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Are there any other nominations?
Move the nominations be closed.
I'll nominate Rob Hartman. Why not? He's a good guy.
Okay. Well, we have so we have a nomination for Megan. We have a nomination for Bob. So now you got me.
Second.
Is there a second for Mr. Hartman? Well, wait a minute, we need to, we have a second for Bob.
Don't do it.
Okay. Hearing none, motion fails. We have a second for Megan Scanlon.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay.
Move the nominations be closed.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, my tablet's going all over the place. Okay, so all in favor of the nominations being closed, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, all in favor of Ms. Scanlon as Chairman Pro Tem, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All
Megan,
right,
the show's yours.
sure. So, in accordance with section 6-1 of the Guilford Town Charter, we, as the Board of Finance, need to elect a chairman. So I want to open the floor up for nominations for the election of the chairman.
I move to elect Michael Ailes as the Chairman of the Board of Finance.
Any other nominations?
I'll nominate Jeff Beatty. Why not? Another good guy here.
Okay, do I have a second for Mike Ailes as chairman?
I'll second, Michael.
Do I have a second for Jeff Beatty as chairman? Hearing none. Want to move? Any other nominations?
Move the nominations be closed.
Second.
So all in favor of Michael Ailes as chairman of the Board of Finance?
I think first we gotta do the nominations.
Close it.
Oh, close it.
Close the nominations, yeah.
All in favor of closing the nominations?
Aye.
Aye.
All in favor of Michael Ailes as the chairman of the Board of Finance?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Guys would have made good chairman. You just,
Well,
What's that?
Let the record reflect that was unanimous vote.
Thank you. Again, thank you.
Congratulations.
we only had the one nominee.
That was something different. It's all right. It's all good. Item number 3, now we go to election of vice chairman in accordance with section 6-1 of the Guilford Town Charter. So I'd like to ask for nominations for vice chairman of the Board of Finance in accordance with the Town Charter 6-1.
To nominate Veronica Wallace as vice chairman of the Board of Finance.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
I'll nominate Rob Hartman again.
oh, don't do that.
Not a bad guy.
Okay, any seconds? Do I hear a second for Bob Hartman as vice chairman?
No, because I'd like to nominate Jeff Beatty as vice chair.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a second. So we have a second for Jeff Beatty.
We have a second for Veronica.
And we have a second for Veronica.
I'll move nominations be closed.
All
I'll
right,
second that.
and all in favor of nominations being closed, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, so now we got discussion, right? That's what you do.
Yep.
I'm just going to say that as far as Veronica goes, Veronica and Jeff are both, I will say, good colleagues of mine, very good colleagues. Veronica, I know, has been basically by my side for quite a long time. That goes well before the Board of Finance. She has been on the Board of Selectmen. She has been very involved in our Democratic Town Committee and very involved in the town, never mind just on the politics side. So with that, I feel that with Ken Garriman's departure as the vice chair, we should keep this within the party and the majority party, and that is my feeling. And Veronica, I feel, is someone I would feel very strongly working with. Jeff, no offense taken, but I do feel very strongly that way. So that would be my reason to go with Veronica.
I nominated Jeff, not only for his exemplary service to this body, but for his long and varied service to a number of, an astounding list of boards and agencies in Guilford. And he certainly understands how the town works on many levels beyond this body. And while this is not a political body, nor should it be, or influenced by politics in this committee, I think it would be of value to our town to show balance and collaboration at this point.
I do respect that thought behind that, so thank you.
I would have to agree with this comment about a little bit of balance, but both Veronica and Jeff are impeccable candidates to be chairman of the board. So,
I guess I would just like to.
vice chair.
I would like to add, although I think Jeff and Veronica are great candidates, and I hear the need to call for balance. But I do think that elections happen and the voices of the electorate were heard. Hence, we do have the majority party, and I just want to also say that having the perspective of a female in the vice chairman role rather than to counterbalance the male, I think it's valuable to the town since the makeup of the town is majority female, I think, at this point. So.
Very good points. Anybody else wishing to make a comment before we take a vote? Okay, so what I'll do is I'll ask for a vote for all in favor of Jeff Beatty as vice chairman of the Board of Finance, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'll say aye.
Opposed? Okay, 4-3. For Veronica Balls, all in favor of Veronica Balls as vice chairman of Board of Finance, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Opposed, I guess.
Okay, abstentions.
I'll change mine to an aye.
Yours, okay,
Oh, there you go.
okay.
Oh, having nominated Jeff, I'll abstain.
Okay. Just want to make sure everyone's counted.
Yeah.
And with that, I congratulate Veronica Wallace as vice chairman of the Board of Finance.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
We have item number 4. So our last appointment is a clerk to the Board of Finance in accordance with section 6-1 of the Guilford Town Charter. Well, I think this will be a little bit easier. Mr. Ailes, myself will ask for nominations for appointment of clerk to the Board of Finance in accordance with that section of the Guilford Town Charter.
I'd like to recommend our current clerk, Tracy Brinkman.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second.
I don't, any other nominations? Okay, with that,
Nobody wants this one?
Is there anybody who really would take the clerk position or would be interested? I mean, I was just curious. Tracy's fantastic, right? Obviously.
not this here present.
Okay. Yeah,
How's that?
right.
Not that I know of. Lou, Matt, anybody? I'll call the vote. All in favor of Tracy Brinkman as clerk to the Board of Finance, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Tracy, virtually, congratulations.
She looks thrilled.
I think that needs a round of applause.
Overjoyed.
Let's remember, if it wasn't for Tracy,
Uh,
that part of the agenda would have not have gone as well.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Don't take the evening off, Tracy.
Just a real quick point. Tracy is, I've asked her numerous questions over the years. And she is a big help, to keep me in balance and in line and, crafting the agenda. So I very much appreciate, Tracy's work. Item number 2 on our agenda, public forum. Anybody wishing to address, the Board of Finance and Public Forum? Seeing and hearing none. Item number 3, approve minutes of the regular meeting minutes for October 18th, 2021. Do we hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, comments, corrections?
I have one typo.
Sure, go ahead.
Item number 4, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th paragraph. second sentence, they do have slightly less outpaced. I think that's supposed to be outplaced.
Oh, right. In, item number 4, the second paragraph, there's, it was a little bit, it's the only item I saw. Revenue for September was 29,440.80, and then it was a little bit confusing there because it runs on to 4,000, which I think there should be a period there. 4,000, which included Medicaid, pre-K, and donation from Coca-Cola. So just a stoppage there. Other than that, I didn't see anything else. Anybody else?
I know this is confusing, but I have an H in my name. I know our chairman also confuses that, but it should be MEGHAN throughout the document, not MEGAN.
And for every time I've ever done it, I apologize.
It's okay. I'm not offended, just.
Back in section 4, revenue, that last sentence, it's actually Coca, Coco. I drink a can of it practically every day.
So you know how it's doing.
So, and then on page 3, the third paragraph down, Ms. Rader said the bus company, I think it should be attended the last operations meeting. I think that's all I have.
Okay. Anything further? Okay, all in favor of the meeting minutes, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or
Oh,
abstentions? Here.
I abstain as well.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, item number 4, correspondence, standing building committee minutes. We do have Chairman David DeMayo with us virtually. David, thank you for your patience as we went through all the role that we needed to go through.
Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you on most of our behalf, I guess.
Thank you.
Okay, anything for standing building committee?
I have a question that may be answerable by our chairman. I was just kind of curious, what does the EDPM acronym stand for? I think this is with the Baldwin project for the roof.
EDPM is, oh, God, you know what? David read, because I always get it messed up. It's EPDM. It's
EPDM?
exterior. Go ahead, David.
I don't know all the exact words for it, but it's a type of membrane, rubber membrane roof. That's the best explanation I can give it to you as I sit here tonight. I can look it up and remember all the words. But there's
like
PVC products.
Yeah.
It's a type of rubber. It's very similar to a tire inner tube. If you remember those days when we had tubes in our tires or even bicycle tires, it's similar to that kind of product, only thicker.
The reason that we're kind of, it's like exterior polycarbonate.
Look at that.
And M is membrane.
Okay,
So it's a polycarbonate.
I was curious about that.
membrane.
That's gonna be a big improvement though, right? To the,
Yes. Yeah.
and they spray that on, or is it like kind of a
No,
big
it's
thick
laid-
roofing
it's-
paper or
it's
something?
laid on. It's
Okay.
basically it's like a sheet.
It's a rubber sheet. Yeah, rubber
Rubber
sheet. It's fully, most times it's fully adhered, which means it's fully glued to the substrate. And seams are overlapped and glued. Other systems like a PVC system would have a welded seam. It's actually heat welded. So it's a different type of roofing system. But very,
It's one of the most common and one of the most long lasting out there. So.
Okay. I got one more question too, and that would be it for the standing building committee meeting minutes. I wanted to ask the energy savings project, which I can't even remember how to refer to. It said that we're kind of getting to wrap it up. And I was curious, are we going to wrap that up and then the solar PV stuff on Baldwin will be like another negotiation with them, or?
It's not a negotiation. We're going to be deploying the,
excuse me.
well, David, I think we're hoping to deploy that based on how well we
Yeah,
negotiate.
The energy performance contract, as we have all referred to it, is closed through with a blessing of the Board of Finance and the selectmen. We approved the final bills to be paid to Johnson Controls on that last month. And yes, the Baldwin Solar project is going to be a standalone project now in and itself.
So may I ask, because once in a while I run into parents in Baldwin and they ask me what's going on and I can't explain. So this is in item number 14, and it's the third paragraph there. And it's about this issue.
Your
of
November
Baldwin.
minutes,
First one's October. Wait a minute,
October.
October 19th.
Oh, yeah, sure, okay, let me go there.
So it's still, I mean, it's some debate about an installation flaw and the cause of the problem, who's at fault, how the issue can be resolved. Is this is all about the roof? This is in preparation for PV? This is,
No,
or this is an HVAC? Is this?
this is a HVAC issue.
Okay.
Going back to phase one of the Baldwin Middle School project.
Right.
Keep in mind that we're completed almost with phase two.
Yeah.
So this flaw was discovered in April, early May last year. When the systems were, for the first time since they were installed, put online under demand due to COVID. And they did not perform properly. We've hired a third-party commissioning agency to investigate it. You can see we've got a ton of money earmarked for this commissioning. But it's really the only way. We have consulted with town council. It's the only way to get to the bottom of the problem. It could be a design flaw or it could be an installation error. But clearly, the town is in the position to find out what the problem is and get it rectified and identify the party that will take ownership of this.
Thank you. I mean, this is, and I know we didn't take our trip today because the days got short and all this, but this is the kind of thing where it would help our understanding terrifically if we could stand there and have somebody point at these things so I can explain them better when guys in pickup trucks ask me questions. Why are we still discovering these issues?
This is up in the penthouse, and so yeah, we'd have to do some climbing around. This is an airflow issue, and again, the system was never really put under load due to COVID. So let's see, in the schools are basically, we were shut down in March of 2020 or 2019. I'm trying to get my
2020.
2020, right? So the schools were not really occupied through late spring, early summer. So they never really got tested well. I mean, they were balanced and they were run, but they weren't run under any load when people in the building was occupied with people. So this year, when the schools were back occupied, we had that early heat wave in late April, early May, and the system did not perform properly. Now the building's full occupancy, the full occupancy, and it was realized that the system was not performing. And that's when, JCI was brought in, the contractors were brought in. They couldn't, they determined it was an airflow issue, but they didn't know if it was a design issue, an installation issue. And that's where we are now. We've got a lot of finger pointing going on between engineers and contractors. The only way to resolve, as I said, was to get a third party commissioning firm in there.
I really appreciate that explanation. Now I know what to say. Thank you.
You're
Mr.
welcome.
Chairman,
Yes.
as you note further down in section 14, there's some discussion about including a commissioning agent in all of these major projects. And that was a significant discussion at a Board of Selectmen meeting, rather than, doing these after the fact when it appears. We should be proactively building in costs for that in the projects that we list, because of what David just said. Any building committee isn't out there watching, and they're not clerk of the works. They're not out there watching the construction and so forth. So I think it's probably wise for us to consider a commissioning agent on all major projects.
Yeah, but because they end up kind of carrying the can, and it's not fair, and it gets expensive.
Yep. And for $20,000 on a couple $1 million project,
Yeah.
I think it's money well spent.
It's pretty standard for the industry when you get these sophisticated projects. to have a third-party commission agency.
It just seems we've had a small rash of these things, whether it's solar or HVAC or something else. The discovery 2 years after just seems wild, you know?
Yeah.
Bad luck, bad luck.
So we've had some focus on the building committee minutes from October 19th. Anything for November 2nd?
I noticed that in the minutes, there was anticipation that the turf field project would be completed about mid-November. Any update on where things stand with regard to that?
Mr. Chairman, I can comment on that. On last Friday, as
Sorry, I didn't hear the question. I apologize.
I've got it, Dave. Last Friday, as is my custom for a number of years, I was able to work the chain gang on the sidelines of the new Guilford turf field, and it is absolutely spectacular. If you haven't had a chance to go take a look at it, it's more than just a new field. They created more of a stadium effect with some tiered viewing for spectators. And I have to say, on Friday night last, there was the stands were completely full, and folks were walking all along both the viewing platform levels as well as towards the end zone. So a great job all the way around, Dave.
Perfect, thank you.
I know I had one item. It's just, okay, on page number 2, near the end, I just circled, after discussion, the members of the standing building who are in agreement with the following review of the scope and cost estimate for Baldwin Middle School for the roof project. The scope and estimate. Okay, I got it. This is when the building committee simply said that they had reviewed the Baldwin Middle School roof project and it was under $1 million. So it doesn't have to go to referendum. And it said recommend the Board of Education and Board of Finance. There was a recommendation that the Board of Education and Board of Finance move forward with the project. Is that in fact the Board of Finance moving forward with the project or Board of?
It'll be both.
It'll be both, right?
It's going to be a bonding issue.
Okay. Oh, it's a bonding issue, but it doesn't have to go to vote. Yeah, okay. Okay, so the standing building committee simply just looked at it, but didn't have to approve it, or didn't need to approve it because it didn't have to go to referendum.
No, but they're intimately involved in the project.
They will be.
Which involves the replacement of a portion of Baldwin's roof, which you're negotiating with the state of Connecticut to ensure that we don't get a full clawback for the funds that were committed by the state for that roof project several years ago. And I actually, David, I think we have a meeting within the next day or two with the state of Connecticut on the status of the original date that roof project was completed.
Okay.
In fact,
Okay. Right.
Representative Scanlon has made sure that we have that meeting up with.
Good. Okay. Yeah, our action was just to review the plans and specs and to, on the sidelines, I did some baseline pricing based on industry standards. And this seemed to be a fair number based on the removals and the partial replacement of items. So. And this will give you a full 20-year warranty on the roof system that'll reside under the PV system.
And more importantly, it allows us to take advantage of the Z-Recs that are available for that last phase of the solar project that we were unable to complete at Public Works.
That's right.
Is there a deadline involved in that with completing one project and getting on to the next one?
It's coming up shortly, so we need to commit the funds more than likely prior to, definitely prior to when we would normally hold a referendum. So there's sometime early to 2022 that we have to commit funds in order to A, preserve the Z-Recs, and B, state funding for this project. Because we will get some state funding for this roof replacement. We just won't get the full amount because of the fact that the roof that's there is less than 20 years old.
Does it require bonding or was it under $1 million?
Well, it's going to require bonding, but it's under $1 million, which means it doesn't have to go to referendum.
Oh, sorry, that was what I was looking for from the notes.
'Cause it's
Yeah.
20-year.
It just has to go to the bond commission. Which it did.
And David, the building committee felt the 5% contingency based on the presentation by Mr. Hibbard was sufficient?
Yes, previous work on the roof has proven asbestos to be non-existent,
Okay.
which is a biggie.
That's
And the second item is numerous core samples were done of the existing roof, which gets you down through the substrates into the insulation down to the roof deck, and no moisture was present. And that's also another big item, which means limited demolition, limited removal. So we basically would be moving the existing roof skin off. The substrate that roof is attached to, leaving the majority of the insulation in place, which is a huge savings on your part. If you had to go down to the roof deck, this system will probably be probably double the price that it is here. We'll be adding insulation in various areas of the roof so that we meet the energy code. But it's partial insulation additions. So with that information, especially the core samples and the knowledge of no asbestos, we felt that this was a really, really good number and something that we can go to the bank with.
excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else for staying building or Mr. DeMeo? Okay.
Great.
David, thank you for joining us, as
Of
always.
course, thank you, guys. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Too. Thank you.
Take care.
Further on in correspondence, pension committee minutes and the monthly report. Anything on pension? Not see anything. Get my attention.
Well,
Bob.
yeah.
Bob.
Well, it's, and Mary Jane is there, it's the lump sum payouts that are damaging the balance.
Yeah.
And we're kind of between a rock and a hard place on the design of that. And we got, so many years of low interest on bonds are, making it, but it seems, we're not in a position, we shouldn't be, can't give financial advice, but as a town or a group, but I'd love to understand why it is that it seems to be 100% flight from lump sums from those employees. It's just bewilders me because the pension committee is investing the money terrifically well.
Mhm.
So I'd like to take the opportunity to commend the pension committee for doing a fabulous job, and the returns that they've generated from inception have been extraordinary. It is just the non-academic employees in the board, in this education system that are able to do this. The reality is, if they all ran for the door, if all the eligible members ran for the door as soon as if they wanted, it caused terrific damage. So I don't know if there's any mitigation. I don't know if there's anything we can do about this, but it's concerning.
I couldn't agree with you more. It's a matter of collective bargaining with the respective bargaining units on the Board of Education side. And it's been expressed to the Board of Education on a number of occasions. We have sunsetted that provision in all of the.
That's right.
In respective town pension plans.
Right.
There's only two, police as well as the Guilford Employees Association. So
Yeah.
we'll continue to put pressure on the Board of Education.
Yeah.
I think- And you guys have the ability to do that from the seats you sit in as well.
Yeah, we just don't want I just don't want there to be misunderstandings. It just looks to me like there's a gap in understanding, and in the end, taxpayers are going to carry the can for this if things don't turn around soon. And who wants higher, first time in my life, I'm voting, praying for higher interest rates to make this even out a little bit, but it's just, it's concerning.
Blame it on COVID.
Yeah.
Now, I think I've thrown this question out there. Is it actually worthwhile for us to create some kind of incentive to get them to not take the lump sum and to, take the monthly payout option?
I don't know, John, that's a good.
I don't know.
It's, something I could design.
How you might do that.
My assumption is that would also.
Well,
fall
it
under-
would be something you'd bargain, and, an idea, one idea is that which big corporations sometimes do, is you go to those people and offer them a buyout now. And we would, and my math says if we floated a bond to do that, it would cost taxpayers much less to service the bond, to pay them all out than to continue to contribute at the rate we're currently contributing. But that's not something you can impose. And you've got to hit critical mass for it to work. So you don't know,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they also have to have the leadership of those unions buy into
well,
it.
it'd be optional. But, if it makes sense, it makes sense. Obviously, if they're ready, willing, and able to take lump sum now, maybe there's a way we can offer that and still come out ahead as taxpayers. But it needs to be negotiated. There's a bunch of numbers to be crunched on it. It's an exercise that I'm sure of people.
Is it ever
can do.
asked of the employees that when they fill out the paperwork to take the lump sum, do we ever inquire from the terminated employee?
On the town side, make some we make some suggestions about the differences between the two. We cannot provide financial
I know
advice to
that, I know
our
that.
employees, but clearly, we advise them that if they take the lump sum, they are responsible for the management of same, as opposed to an annuity type plan, which is guaranteed for their life, and then whatever arrangements they make for survivor benefits. So those things are explained to them, but we cannot push them in one direction or another,
Right.
nor can we advise them which way to go.
Do we have an idea how many more employees have this option?
I don't have that number, certainly we can ask it. Bob and I will probably be. at the
We do.
meeting on
We've
Wednesday.
been told. I just can't remember the
Yeah.
number. Yeah. We do. When we started looking at this, I don't know how many months ago, we asked Shapiro to have a poke at this. Anyway, I just bring it up. I want to reassure everybody the pension committee is doing a fabulous job. This kind of undercuts the work that they're doing. And the taxpayers end up holding the bill. So I'd love it if we could spend a little time and work on this and see, at least eliminate, at least.
For new employees, that would be the first thing in the bargaining,
Right.
that probably be the thing we'd be able to.
It's a place to start.
Yeah.
But anyway, my dog, don't like to leave this alone. But it's a tough one.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. That's me. That's me for pension.
Hey, I have just one question. With the OPEB money, I kind of wasn't looking at the details, sort of skimmed over it, but we haven't really put any money into the funds yet? Or did you do the allocations and get some money into some of the funds? Oh, so the money's in the funds already?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, it's going in.
Okay.
It's going in.
2.7.
because a chunk of money, right? Get it invested and
Mhm.
get
It
some
starts,
interest.
the sooner it starts growing, the sooner the benefits accrue.
Yep.
Anything
Anything on OPEB while you, seeing that you brought it up? Anything else on OPEB? On the meeting minutes or on the report?
No, it's going, it's early days. It's all very quite
Yeah,
simple.
yeah.
It's all very quite simple.
Straightforward.
Money's just going in at the agreed schedule. The portfolio that's being managed is still quite simple compared to the pension,
Right.
the larger ones. So there's not a lot to remark about.
It's only about 2.5% of
Yeah.
what the other one is.
That's right.
It's not much.
Yeah, I'm glad they've turned something I was trying to get them to do some months ago. They've knocked down the high yield bond holdings and moved into bank loan holdings. It's just a technical thing, but I'm very much in favor of that. So I think they're doing a swell job. Yeah.
Good to hear. Thank you. Okay, nothing else on correspondence for pension? We will move on to item number 5, review and accept the report of expenditures to the Board of Education for October 2021. It appears that Linda Trudeau is on screen. Do you have any help tonight, or are you flying solo?
I was expecting help. I guess nobody showed up, so I'm flying
Okay.
solo.
Well, we have a lot of faith in you to do that, so
Thank
take
you.
it away. Take it away, Linda.
All
Truman.
right, well, first, congratulations on the election. For those of you who are reelected and for our new member, looking forward to working with all of you again. So for October, our expenditures were $4,876,537.02. That represents 29.22% of our budget. In 2021, we were at 29.36%. And in 1920, we were at 24.82%. We did have a small amount of revenue, $4,779.36 come in October from Medicaid, pre-K, and a donation from Coca-Cola. Salaries are approximately the same as prior year. Employee benefits is lower. That is mainly because last year we had the really high unemployment. So that kind of took over the whole employee benefits account last year. Purchase services is higher than the prior year. There was a posting error that I found after the reports were done under the purchase services line that actually should have been gone to tuition. So when I make that adjustment in November, it brings purchase services more in line, and as well as the tuition line. Supplies and materials is higher than the prior year. A lot of this is just due to timing. The schools really have been doing a lot more ordering now that they were back in the classroom more than they were this time last year. Capital is higher than the prior year. There was a reimbursement of expenses from the capital lease that was done in November. So hopefully those funds will come in prior to the end of this month, and it should be more in line. It won't be over budget. Transportation is higher than the prior year. A good part of that is due to the summer transportation. Last year, summer school was not held in person, so we weren't transporting the students. So the transportation was a lot less. And our warrants total $2,435,676.66. And I'll try and answer any questions you have.
I'll start. All of my questions are really in purchase services, and I know you addressed in general. There were a few that were kind of anomalies here. Professional and technical services was near 40, whereas the last couple of years hasn't been, and I don't know if that's a timing issue as well. That was one. Special services was another that seemed to be trending higher. When I say higher, it's higher than the last couple of years, not in relation to where we are in the fiscal year, because we're right around where we would be typically, but postage is up. And then security, which I see that there's not a lot encumbered. It's spent. And it's not a huge amount, but it's at 100%. So I was just wondering if you could comment on those percentages and where we are in those expenditures. I know I threw a lot at you, but.
Okay, so professional and technical services, a little part of that is timing of the payment for the annual audit, but the encumbrance of $14,945 is for a security audit that we're doing for technology. And so that is what's driving up that percentage.
Is that in relation to what we're doing on the town side? No. That's not, okay, that's separate. Okay, so that's separate.
Did we budget for that, or is that something new?
It wasn't fully budgeted, but we've been talking about doing this for a while. So it's something that we're trying to get done instead of waiting, especially with the high cost of the cyber policy. We figured we really tried to push to get this all done now. We always have money budgeted for contracted services, And sometimes it's not necessarily designated to exactly where we're gonna use it, so we're kind of shifting some funds around to get this done.
Okay.
I will just say I appreciate that that's where it is going, because I mean, it's exponentially, cybersecurity is ramping. We're even, I mean, everyone's, even our firm is looking at it in real seriousness because of that. So I think that's probably a really good use to check that.
It was actually one of the one of the concerns of the rating agencies when we talked to them prior to going out the bond is what we were doing on coastal resilience and cybersecurity.
Really?
Those are the two areas that they're focusing heavily on outside of their normal inquiries.
Right. So this is in lockstep to what the concern. Okay, great. Sorry, Linda, to interrupt.
And remember, the exposure on the Board of Ed side is significantly higher
Oh,
than
yeah.
is here because we have students accessing the
Oh,
system
absolutely.
remotely to do distance learning, teachers as well. On the town side, once we brought everybody back to work, there are not an awful lot of folks accessing the system from outside the four walls of our office spaces.
Special services?
Okay, special services is where there is a posting error. A bill with about $190,000 for tuition was posted to special services in error. So when you take that out, it brings it more in line.
Okay.
Postage, I am drawing a blank on, so I will follow up with that one tomorrow. I don't have any notes on that one for some reason. And security, those are 2 annual payments. One is for the monitoring of the alarm systems in the buildings, and the other one is for the visitor software that they use at the high school to scan licenses and when people come into the building. And so it's just the 2 annual charges with just a few dollars left in there for other security if anything else comes up. That's why it's fully expended.
So it's just a timing issue. It was just earlier in the year than
Right.
with
Yes.
a little bit left over. Okay, okay.
Right.
Thank you, Linda.
Mhm.
Anything else?
I got 2 more.
Go ahead, John.
So the other one I was going to ask about, and I apologize with the 3 columns. I hope I didn't mess this one up, Linda, but I thought I saw capital, which you mentioned already, but I think it was instructional equipment was at 168%. And I know you said it's running over, but we went that far over?
Yes, so that's where the purchases that we make from the capital lease go into, and then we get the funds back from the leasing company. So. when
Okay, I'm sorry. Did you mention that it's temporary and we're
Right,
gonna get
yes.
it back at the end of the year? Okay, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, well, we should have money coming in by the end of this month,
Yep.
so it should come back in
It'll be
line.
offset.
Okay, so the last question I had was, I think I saw an exhibit now where you mapped out the grant money and how much money we got from each grant. And
Yes.
I was wondering, are you gonna make space for the American Rescue Plan? And have we been able to push any money towards some of our COVID expenses or whatever is appropriate for American Rescue money?
I thought you had received the report. Was it not sent to you?
Yeah, I didn't see American Rescue Plan on there though. Is
Yeah,
it
it is.
in there? And I just
They
don't
all
recognize
have
the name.
they all have about 20 different names.
Okay,
Let me just grab my copy, sorry.
It's the
Special ed recovery.
okay.
fifth one.
Esther 2.
Is it Esther too?
Yeah.
I am getting the questions actually from constituents, and they're saying, what's going to happen with all this big money from the American Rescue Plan? So those are some questions I got tonight overall.
So
All right,
there's.
I'm
yes,
sorry, I didn't
S-
recognize the one that I was supposed to look at, but if it's in there, then that was really my question.
It's
So,
ESSER 3 ARP is American Rescue Plan.
okay,
Sorry.
ARP, should have picked up
On
on
the
that.
top of the second page.
Perfect. Thank you.
And there's IDA ARPA money too.
Okay.
Yes.
Hey,
actually-
can you talk about the food service line? Are we doing any better?
Yes, we are. They actually had a very good month for October. They made some money.
Hey.
Yes,
Peanut butter.
let me get their report, sorry. So for October, they made $42,000. So it brings the loss, well, it brings them actually back into a profit of $16,764 for the year. So hopefully this trend will continue. They've been increasing participation for both breakfast and lunch. And with the higher reimbursement that we're getting for the free meals for all, it seems to be helping. We did have to just buy a couple pieces of equipment, so we're gonna spend some of our profit down, but they are doing very well.
On warrants. Can I just ask one? Oh, John, yeah, go.
On legal, I know it was based on some negotiations for, I'm assuming with the bargaining units and with special ed. Where do we stand on those? Are there more in the pipeline, or are they coming to a resolution?
So we have one negotiation that we have a tentative agreement on. One's done. We have a tentative agreement on one. We still have one union that we're negotiating with. And I don't know specific cases for the special ed legal on how much that's going to continue. We thought it was winding down. We may still have a few more coming, I think. Once we get through this other negotiation, we should be set for a little while for legal.
Great. Thank you.
Mhm.
Anything else on the summaries? On the financial report? We just had one on the warrants. There's a number of payments that appear to be tuition payments to Southeastern Employment Services. Just curious what that is for. Is that to have a student go to that particular location, or a number of students, or is it more of a broad service that they provide?
It's a career coaching, like life skills,
Okay.
teaching basic job skills to them,
Okay.
along with some other life skills, I believe.
It was the name of it that kind of threw me, but that makes sense though.
Yeah, it is an odd name.
Yeah, okay. Anything else on?
I just had, just for my own curiosity, Pear Deck, what is that? And it was a $10,000 invoice.
I looked it up. It's an online, it delivers ideas through graphics. It's a teaching aid.
Oh, okay.
I looked it up. I caught the same thing.
Yeah, it allows the teachers to put out a lesson, and as the students are doing the work, the teachers can monitor their work in real time and provide feedback immediately. So it kind of is an interactive, almost kind of software for teachers to use.
That sounds neat. That sounds very interesting. Neat.
Mhm.
And the minutes from October 12th for the operation. Relief funds, anything further on the grant report? Thank you for the summary. It's nice to see it all in one
Yeah.
location.
Very excellent exhibit.
Thank you.
Linda, I have a question on the grid. So Guilford announced that they're gonna be a mobile vaccination site. So are you getting some of the 3.8 million that's coming to the state for that?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that one yet.
Okay, all right, I was curious.
Good question.
I think the clinics we're standing up right now are through the East Shore Health District.
So is the money coming through
The
them?
first two, the one that was the last Saturday, and there's another one coming up this following week. I think we did 285 kids at the first one.
So is that money going to them,
I
to
think that's,
us,
but
or?
I think that's East Shore Health District. But,
Okay.
I'll confirm that.
Okay, yeah.
Anything else for Linda? Board of Education? Okay, if not, I will entertain a motion to accept the report of expenditures for the Board of Education for October 2021 in the amount of $4,876,537.02.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, recusals? Great, thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
And number 6, review and approve the report of expenditures for town government for October 2021. Ms. Malvasi, it's all yours.
Good evening. I'd also like to
Evening.
express my congratulations to everyone. Amy, I apologize. I was not in the office when you came. It looks like you're using your iPad, so I'm hoping everything is working well. So
Cool.
good for you. Good for
We
you.
showed her the whole library, so she can get all the back documents.
Oh, wow. I'm so proud of all of you.
Come a long way, right, Mary Jane?
I am so proud. It's like
Yeah.
my own children. Anyway, welcome. I'd like to start with revenues.
Okay.
On the revenue side, we have brought in 54.9% this year so far versus 51.8 last year. You'll see that our tax revenue is very strong and healthy this year, which is helping with that percentage. I'd like to bring your attention to the negative actual revenue in the selectmen line. If you remember last month, I did mention that we received some energy performance contract credits and that I was going to be reimbursing the Board of Ed for their portion. So that represents that money going back to the Board of Ed. Also, the only other line items I'd like to discuss is just to let you know that land use is still very busy in the permitting department. As we experienced last year, you'll see our building department and our health department are exceeding their revenue from last year. And that is due to the number of permits that are still coming in for people doing work at their homes and just general construction overall. Does anyone have any specific questions?
Does Parks and Rec and Rick Maynard, do they have any concerns about the number where it is now after we've gone through? I mean, I was looking and beach passes seem to be lower, and of course, the rental of the rooms. Do they see that picking up as the season goes, as the fiscal year goes on? Obviously, beach passes probably not until next spring, but the room rentals, they haven't come back yet.
We have not seen that come back yet. To be honest, I did not have a conversation with Rick on that, so I'm not sure what they anticipate long-term, but I can certainly have a conversation with him.
Look at those conveyance taxes, huh?
Yeah.
It'd be, huh?
It's,
Yep, that's a direct line to our permits. You know, permits come in and conveyance taxes go out as well sometimes, and we still have a lot of transfers of homes. Still seeing that.
For those of you who might be interested, I've been keeping a running tally of sales prices versus appraised prices. I have a sample size of about 270 transactions that have taken place largely since March, April timeframe. And you might be interested to know that the aggregate is 35% higher. Sales prices are 35% higher than the appraised prices through our assessors office. So that's another reason why the conveyance taxes are so high, because
Yeah.
the premium for real estate, and Jeff, I know you see a lot of it.
I'm familiar with it. Guilford's a desirable place to live.
It's certainly for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
So long as you're here, Jeff.
Yeah, I think they'll be here.
Big
for
attraction.
A long, long time after all of us are, other people are sitting in these seats. Yeah.
Anything else on revenue? Okay, expenditures.
So on the expenditure side, we're at 38.5 versus 36.5 last year at this time. Just a couple things to point your attention to. You'll see that economic development is running ahead of where they normally are. As of the beginning of October, Sherry Cody is now full-time, working part-time for the town and for the town of Guilford and part-time for the town of Madison. We will be billing Madison on a quarterly basis for their half of her expenses, her salary and all of her benefits. So that line will come back down. And also, as Matt mentioned this morning at the selectmen's meeting, we may be attributing the expense of that EDC coordinator through the ARPA grant as well. The other item I wanted to mention was capital. We have a number of items in the capital line that are over expended: engineering, IT, and park and rec, to be specific. These line items have expenditures in them that will be covered by money in other areas, such as fund balance and some ARPA spending. And also there's a line item for the building department's vehicle. That money we actually set aside and carried in force, so that expenditure will be moved to that line item. So it will bring the capital line, kind of back to where it should be. Other than that, I really didn't have anything specific to report.
Anyone else?
I'm good.
I'd love to see that debt retirement.
Maybe just one question on the legal line. It seemed to be running low, which was good, if I remember. And is that a trend? Do we know why?
Yeah, these are the changes we made relative to the staffing. We no longer have a full-time in-house counsel. The in-house counsel is 14 hours a week plus dedicated to the staff. And then it is on billable. There is a rate that is 2/3 of his normal rate for outside services. The balance is there. So that was,
Okay.
I think you may recall.
Oh, I do.
Shifting some funds between purchasing, legal and finance. We created a new position in the finance office, or not new position. We moved someone to full-time on the anticipation that there would be savings on the legal side, and we're seeing even greater savings than we had anticipated.
It's working better than expected.
And the good news is we've been somewhat fortunate. We've not had major legal expenses that can pop up. Thank you. I do it this way.
Both corners going away.
Good news, though.
And also, we had a very successful, we had a very successful process in closing out most of our union contracts in fiscal year 21. We still are negotiating with our fire union at this point. Looks like it's probably going to go to mediation. So there will be some additional expenses coming on the labor side of the legal budget.
Nice to talk about a positive line item every once in a while.
It absolutely is.
Anything else on expenditures?
I noticed that on fire, replacement and overtime are running a little high. Is that attributable to any specific events, or is it just?
Some workers' comp cases, in addition to a couple of folks have left to go on to different departments, and we're in the process of replacing them. So
I see.
replacing them as with full timers, so the replacement salary is starting to go up.
Okay.
Was there an impact because of the storm this past weekend?
There were some 300 and some odd folks who were without power for a little while. I saw that was Sunday morning. I saw that number by early afternoon, the number was down to about 20. So I don't think we did not call out Public Works because
okay.
there was not a need to. The tree damage was not substantial. It wasn't blocking roads. We had
Because you know, these events always happen on the weekend, you know, they happen on a Wednesday afternoon.
That's right. So the good news is that it wasn't significant. There was one major outage which caused the bulk of those outages. We did Public Works was out all day today, taking trees and moving trees off the side of the road. So
It was a pretty powerful storm, though. I think my deck furniture got rearranged and flew around on the deck a little.
Rearranged upside down.
Yeah.
Is tree removal, is that a natural resource department?
yes, it
Is
is.
that where that line is?
Yes, it is.
It's always lower than it was.
It's always lower than it should be. We always whack that account. Yeah. Maybe this year we'll change the philosophy. Even at the Board of Selectmen side.
That'd be nice.
It's one thing caught my eye in natural resources, since we're there. $30,000 for geographic information. And I just don't know what that is.
The GIS system, geographic.
Really?
System,
That much?
And it's just a landing place for that. It's used by multiple departments.
Yeah.
And the reason it's there is because Kevin understands the system best. And so it just happens to fall in there. Typically, you know, theoretically, we could shift that across multiple departments, including assessor, building, engineering, and, zone and planning and zoning. But that was just a place, had to go somewhere. There's probably an argument to be made that number should probably be in information technology. So Mary Jane, maybe we ought to have that conversation at some point.
I'm almost more interested in the size of the number than the location. I use it, but I would never guess that it would cost that much.
The annual license.
That's the annual license fee.
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
Actually, one of the things that we've been working with through CCM and through our COG is to have the state system, and the state is close to being able to provide that for us. Because the state has their own system that the Department of Emergency Management uses. So the idea is, instead of 169 towns spending $30,000 each, if we had an overarching system that we could all tap into. That's one of the CCM legislative initiatives at this point.
This is Connecticut being Connecticut, nothing county-based,
Exactly.
really town-based.
Would you just have to pay into that system?
I'm sure there'd be some fee.
Yeah.
Mary Jane, I apologize if I'm missing it in the numbers, but are you having a breakdown now for the American Rescue Fund and the other grants? And I just need to know where to find it.
Well, the money's a little bit all over the place. I don't have a specific breakdown for all of it. The American Rescue Plan money is its own separate fund. We have that money in a money market. We're allowed to earn interest on it. Expenses will come from that based on approvals through the Board of Selectmen and you guys, as Matt brought, I don't know if it was last meeting or the meeting before, when we came forward with the 3 pages of American Rescue Plan funds. So we're working off those first 3, that first phase, we're calling it, with those 3 separate projects. I can certainly provide an accounting of that each month as we move forward. As like I said, it's in a separate fund, so you will not see it in the papers that I give you on a regular basis.
Yeah, I think that's what I was looking for, some visibility to it. I think our first selectman was trying to do that at the meeting before last and start putting some things on the table that may be possibilities. So
yeah, and that's
something that gives visibility to it.
And that's why I set it up as its own separate fund. There's no question as to where the money will go, because all the expenses will be related right to that one fund on an ongoing basis over the next 4 years.
Okay, thank you.
Right, and Mary Jane, and to the board, I want to make a distinction between the ARPA funds and the CARES Act funds. Mary Jane has been consistently providing me with an update as to what the expenses were covered by the CARES Act. Just don't mean to rub this into anybody, any of our neighbors, but this is not West Haven. You're not going to see the same kind of issues with somebody, committing malfeasance and actually taking it. Mary Jane has had a tight control over the expenditures as they meet the qualifications for the CARES Act. So she actually has provided me, and Mary Jane, would you mind sharing that with the members of the Board of Finance relative to the most recent report that you put together?
Yep, I've already made a note.
Thank you.
As the committee that's going to help decide,
Yeah, but
the allocation of that, have they started meeting yet?
No, they have not. I haven't
Okay.
formed it yet. Well, one of the things I'm waiting for is, and again, this is probably a matter of public record already, but it will be now. I've been having discussions with the Guilford Foundation relative to them acting as a fiduciary agent and or management agent. The American Rescue Plan allows for a management fee for managing these processes. And as I think I may have explained to you earlier, I'm looking for that group of volunteers as well as potentially a consultant to manage the process on a day-to-day basis relative to criteria, applications, review of applications and allocation decisions. And that is an allowable expense. So I'm waiting for that piece to fall into place before I charge this committee with working on it. It's my hope to do that in early December, get them started. Because as I think I mentioned to you folks, they are handling the public side. I'm calling the town side, which is normally public, the private side, for our expenses and things that relate to our operations. But on the public side, it's going to be individuals, families, businesses, nonprofits on social services side, as well as on the cultural side. So that is what that group is going to be charged with, building the programs and the plans. The consultant / administrator will be the one responsible for moving forward. And I'm well underway with the Guilford Foundation. I will say there are some challenges with the Guilford Foundation's bylaw structure that we're trying to work through in order to allow that to take place. More than you wanted to know, sorry.
No, I this topic's kind of interest, and I just want to make a comment, like, not worried about anything like West Haven with our leadership and at our municipality. But if you remember at the previous meeting, I was kind of challenging the Board of Selectmen to come up with some way to really try to get the money to people who are impacted. And I remember you're kind of scratching your head and saying, how do we find a good, fair way to do that? So I hope you can rise to the challenge and
Exactly what this committee is going to be.
people out there that really got their lives disrupted by lockdowns and some of the things that happened in COVID and the side effects of what was done, to handle COVID.
One of the great things that happened in this community during the early onset of the COVID was the program that, this is why I think the Guilford Foundation is exactly the right entity to be engaged with, is they put that program together to provide financial relief. I think it was originally slated at $500 per grant that was administered through the Women and Family Life Center. So there's a model already in place to identify those folks who have been impacted, that we're just, plagiarism is a good thing occasionally. Just, take it, lift it and possibly reapply it here.
Yeah, I mean, just, I'm in a small circle, but just some of the neighbors and stuff, I think 3 or 4 business I know have just went under. How great would it be if there was some kind of relief for them to kind of go back and say, yeah, I got damage to this extent. And, the town says, well, we can help you to some extent with those damages.
And quite honestly,
Dream.
my hope is that we find enough eligible entities to utilize the amount of money that we have coming in. I'd hate to give anything back.
Yeah, you don't want to give it.
We're not giving the money back.
Although at some point, our children's children will be paying for it. That's another.
Good point.
That's another. But I personally, I don't have any guilt about utilizing these funds because we get so little back from both our state and federal tax. You know, we send $80 million a year up to Hartford, and we get back, Mary Jane, what do we get back? 3 or 4? So, you know, these opportunities are once in a lifetime opportunities, and we need to capitalize on it. I'll get off the soapbox now.
But no lawn furniture relief.
I got one chair cracked, actually.
Thank you. Good discussion.
I think it's the Odd Lots $8 special, you know, might not be worth filling out the forms.
Anything on warrants? Special, fund, weekly? No? Medical monthly, medical projection?
Good number.
I heard you read that.
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead, I heard.
Actually, Mary Jane, on the medical, in the 2021 expenditures, it looks like the month of October is missing.
I didn't notice that. I rarely ever look over there. I will check into that.
I couldn't remember if we had an issue like that, something with Blue Cross not reporting or something, and so then they doubled up, but I couldn't recall, so I wondered if we could find out about that.
I will check on that. Thank you for noticing.
Yeah, it appears that happened, that what happened this year happened last year too, that 180
Yeah.
and then 1.172. But then October, yeah, that's kind of weird. So yeah, that'd be great to check. We're only 4.6% of the ISL, but that can grow quickly, so.
If you eyeball it, I think if you take the total at the bottom.
Yeah.
And
That's about right.
you'll plug for the missing number in October.
True.
It's just a cut and paste issue, I think.
I think I've thrown it out there that, you know, we've over budgeted for medical, but so far this year, it's looking like it's tracking pretty close to where it should be. So maybe that trend could come to an end. Looked like it was get your surgery done in August or something, maybe. Had a lot of expense in August. Hope everybody's okay.
Well, that was 2 months.
Oh, it's July,
Yeah.
right?
July was 0, so.
Yeah, so we've still got a lot of year left, so we'll see how the holiday.
Summer surgery, maybe?
Anything else you want to bring to our attention on that, Mary Jane? Are we good?
Nope, all set.
Okay. All right, anything else for town government or for Mary Jane? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the report of expenditures of the town government for October 2021 in the amount of $2,841,898.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, refusals? Great. Thank you, Mary Jane. Item number 7, consider and take possible action on Board of Finance meeting calendar for 2022. I took a look at the dates. I don't think there's anything missing. I don't know if anybody has any conflict. Sometimes there is a holiday we don't know about that's been brought to our attention. Does anybody see a date at all during 22 or any of the fiscal year budget process dates are pretty much locked in, so can't really change those, but the regular meetings, any conflicts, any issues?
Is that why the February meeting's on that Thursday?
Yes, I believe so. That's usually why it's a slightly different date. Usually it's a President's Day, and then the next day is Mary Jane, you probably, or Tracy, maybe you.
The Thursday date in February,
It's gotta be
matches up with the charter in terms of the number of days prior to the referendum.
Right, okay. Yeah. February is always an odd date. Yeah.
So it looks like I'll have to buy dinner for Valentine's Day this year. Okay.
You can't escape it.
Yeah, you're on the hook, not off the hook, you're on the hook.
That may be in your own self-interest anyway. Danger.
When I saw February 17th, I was like, whoa, hey, look at that. It's not a Valentine's Day. Okay, so Yes, we have to move it, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the Board of Finance meeting calendar for 2022 as presented.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, abstain? No, good. Community reports, building permits. Oh, by the way, Tracy, I will sign the form, it doesn't have to be on letterhead, right? I got it. I'll sign it, I'll give it to Matt, and you'll have it tomorrow. Yeah, because usually I usually do it like 3 days later. Oops, sorry. Building permits, anything? No? Item number 9, old business. I do have an item under old business, it's the facility site walk that was alluded to before by Mr. Hartman. We were trying to coordinate something, we being Tracy, Mary Jane, Matt, myself, we were trying to get, and the facilities task force. It got to a point where we were thinking about, okay, if we were to do it today, it's, before the meeting, it's dark. It just wouldn't make any sense. So we're going to do something in the spring. We also want to make sure our new member of the Board of Finance was, properly prepared to come out early. So I don't know exactly when that will be, but the task force will work it out.
Yeah,
and
Gary,
we'll know. Yeah, we'll go through Gary and Miguel.
Steve,
Right.
is having a new hip put in, so it's,
So it'll give us some time.
Yep.
Excellent. Okay. Anything else under old business? Okay, item number 10, new business. 2 items under that. One is to just bring up, and again, this is usually put on some sort of recording on GCTV or a few days later, but tomorrow night is the Guilford Complete Streets Committee presentation. That's at 7 p.m. I did double check, the link is already up on the town website. So very easy to go in, just go in. I think we were all notified of that, but I wanted to just remind everyone. I think it would be a great presentation for us to all be aware of, to see what the possible outcomes or solutions could be. Matt, do you want to add anything to that?
Thank you for bringing that up. This is the draft report by the consultant, which has been months in the making. And I've had a chance to review it. There are still some pieces that need to be tweaked and adjusted, but in large measure, this will tell the story of what they're trying to accomplish relative to a complete streets program. So there'll be some suggestions in there that may be easy to do, maybe agreeable to do. There'll be some in there that are more difficult to do and may not be as agreeable to do. But this is a culmination of an extensive piece of work by the Safe Streets Task Force as well as the consultants. So thanks for bringing that to our attention.
Okay. The other item I had was the Board of Selectmen capital budget meeting that is occurring on, and I was talking to one of my colleagues the other day and I had the wrong date, so I'm going to make sure I say it very clearly. Friday morning at 8:30, not another day.
Right.
Is it here?
It's here, but it'll also be.
Mary Jane's waving her hand. Mary Jane, go ahead.
No, it's here. I just wanted to let you know that we have new software this year for our capital budgets. So the information will not be on your board pack. You will receive a link to an online ClearGov platform specifically used for the capital budgeting. All of our department heads have uploaded all of their information directly to the software, eliminating the need for my staff to double dip and redo all of their work onto other spreadsheets. So we've all been working with it and we like the software. Of course, we haven't worked with it from your perspective. So hopefully all will go well on Friday, but please wait for a link from us. You will get a link for a Zoom meeting, I'm assuming, from Tracy, but you probably get the link for the capital budgets directly through me at another time.
Let me just ask a question logistically. I'm going to be away, but I'm going to do everything I can to go through the Zoom link. If you are here in person though, and you go and you get that link to ClearGov to get the information, should you bring something other than your board pack? Like how would?
Still get it on there.
You still get it on?
It's online. It's a
So
URL
it's online, so
through,
it's no different, okay,
Just
okay,
use your iPad.
okay. As long as
Yeah.
you can connect to the internet, you're fine, okay,
correct, right through the internet.
okay. And it, excellent.
And then I think you answered my question, so we can optionally meet in person then for that meeting on Friday?
You can optionally either come here in person or just the link.
Will there be donuts, though?
I'm sorry,
Will there be donuts?
virtually, that's up to you.
No, I meant if we come in
I
in
can't answer
person.
that question. I can't-
Virtual donuts are not very
Who's in
tasty.
charge of donuts? I'm not gonna be here either.
I'll be here briefly.
Okay, so, yeah, so that was just a reminder that Friday morning. That's usually 8:30 to about 11:30, 12 o'clock, plan to 12 at least, right? Usually takes up most of the morning. Anything else under new business?
Not sure if this is the right time to comment, but I just regret missing Ken's last meeting. And I know he's not here, but I just wanted to say on the record that, his contribution to this board was staggering and he'll be missed.
I'm sure he would very much
Yeah.
appreciate that, yes, yes. Thank you for that. Anything else? Item number 11,
Move we adjourn?
public forum.
Oh, sorry.
Let's try.
I'm looking right at it.
Don't
too.
worry, don't worry, I usually save it for you. I do, just very quickly, before we adjourn the meeting, obviously, we had Veterans Day last week. I hope everyone had a memorable Veterans Day. I know, a lot of us appreciate the service of all of our veterans. I saw lots of social media posts. I saw lots of flags. So it was always, nice to see the appreciation for our veterans. And we are at that time for Thanksgiving. I don't know how that happened, but I want to wish all my colleagues happy Thanksgiving. You as well. The public watching this.
Likewise.
And we shall do this again in December. And I believe, actually, maybe it should be a new business item, but I believe we will have our first joint meeting with the Board of Education. Linda, you're nodding your head. I'm sorry, this maybe should shift into the new business. We will have a reminder that we'll probably meet at 6:30 prior to our meeting. I don't know whether that's going to be in person yet or Zoom. Let's just, rather than make a decision now, it's going to be really up to the Board of Education because it's a joint meeting with them. So we'll coordinate with them and then we'll let you all know. But it's usually a 6:30 meeting prior to our 7:30 that we meet with the Board of Education to start talking about the budget for 22-23. And then the meeting in January starts at 6 because we have the binders and we look at those in quite detail. So a little bit more for Amy's knowledge that we'll meet at 6:30 for the joint meeting with the Board of Ed. Okay, that's it on my end. So I'll entertain a
Motion to adjourn?
do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving.
I don't understand. Where's Guilford TV?
We're working with those folks. to determine when they're gonna come back.
Will they come back? I'm kind of kidding around, but I noticed they weren't here.
The long-term viability of GTTV